Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. And thank you for joining us for our second round of Industries Live. My name is Chris Niederman. I'm the Managing Director for Industries and Solutions Worldwide, all those teams. And for those of you who don't know what Industries Live is, we gather a community of AWS customers and partners who are looking for solutions to their pain points in the industry and offer conversations covering the full informational spectrum from level 100 to level 400, from curious college students to C-suite decision makers. And be sure to tune in regularly because we stream every other Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific time, and we alternate between various industries. We're right now focused on media entertainment. We're going to do FSI, and we'll cover a few others today. So today, I'm really curious, like who's out there and where are you dialing in from? Where are you watching from? Give us, make sure you let us know that you're actually live and out there. We love the interaction. You thought this was going to be a passive session. We actually have some audience participation. So let's take a look at the comments and see where everyone's joining from. And have you ever joined a Partners Live or Industry Live stream before? So while they're doing that, like I said, I'm your co-host, and with that is another smiling face there, Stuart Lepkowsky. Why don't you introduce yourself, my co-host friend?
Thank you, Chris. I'm Stuart Lepkowsky. I'm a partner development specialist, and I work on Chris's team, and I oversee the strategy for partners for telco, media entertainment, games, and sports. I want to give a quick shout out, Chris. We have friends from Brooklyn, Ukraine, Chicago, India. Everybody's dialing in today. I love it.
I love it. Ukraine, India. I mean, it's almost like we should give a reward for whoever's dialing in from the furthest away, depending upon what time zone they're in.
I see Paris. Amazing.
Awesome. Paris, Chicago. Well, Chicago's my hometown, by the way. Before I moved here 11 years ago to rainy Seattle, it's just coming down in sheets right now. Love Chicago. Don't like the sub-zero weather and the snow, though. So, Stuart, why don't you get us going here as we kick things off?
Sure. Hey, Brooklyn. So, Chris, we have a great show today focused mostly on the sports and the media world. And our first guests today are from a company called TVU Networks. Let's bring our friends from TVU on.
Hi everyone. Hi,
welcome,
Chris.
welcome. So today's theme, and I'll do a quick intro of our friends. So today's theme is going to be around the Paris Olympics. And from TVU Networks, we have two of our great friends, Yoni Tayar, VP of Marketing, and Fernando Pinto, the Head of Solutions and Media. Gentlemen, introduce yourself and TVU Networks, please.
Sure, thanks. So nice to see everyone connecting at this time. TVU Network, we are like a company doing live video solution for 20 years now, and mainly helping in sports, news, delivering live video solution in any kind of possible way. And today we'll dive deep into what we've done with France Television, the host broadcaster of the Olympics, around the entire event that happened last year in Paris.
Excellent. And Fernando?
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. So I'm Fernando Pinto, so I'm head of solutions. And basically what I'm doing, it's being, staying in the middle of our users and customers' needs, and then trying to, pull up, amazing solutions using different tools, cloud-based, technology, for production. So happy to be here. Thanks.
Excellent. By the way, I'm just looking at the chat. I'm cracking up over EP. I don't know who EP is, but yes, cloud providers are now doing shows, and hopefully these are of value to you. And I don't even want to comment about the breakdancer. That's good, EP. Keep them coming.
We didn't pick the breakdancer. All right, gentlemen. So amazing event, the Olympics, and you guys covered the torch relay. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that. Let's talk about the torch relay. Give us a little background on that and tell us what you did there.
Sure. So the torch relay, many people maybe don't really look at it because it used to not be really broadcasted, because it was crazy to broadcast. It's something that happened before the Olympic, from the moment the torch leaves Athens and goes to the destination. So in 3 years, it will be the US, LA. Now it was in Paris. So the torch was doing like a 3.5 months course throughout all the French territories, like to show the torch and the flame, the Olympic flame, to every possible places, even the outer seas, islands, like all around the world that are like French territories. And basically, the Olympic committees asked France Television as a hot broadcaster for the first time ever to cover that torch relay 24/7. And France TV first reaction was like, okay, this is not really possible because to cover an event like that, you need crazy means. It's like a Tour de France, but in like 6 times longer, 7 times longer than the Tour de France. And basically, money-wise, it's not possible. Environment-wise, it's not possible. You cannot have a plane following the torch relay all over the world like 24/7. So they came to like AWS and TVU to see how we could like make something more sustainable, more cost efficient, but still like broadcast quality to give the world like a live interaction with the torch relay. So that's to give you some background.
Yoni, how did you run in it? Like, did you have a chance to run in it?
So I did run in many places because I just love the thing. So the first time I was in Toulouse, like where we had all the rugby players, and it was pretty fun. And I also joined a lot of time in Paris. It was pretty amazing. Like
That's awesome.
To be honest, the crowd was so crazy and ecstatic that was the best part of it. I didn't think the impact would be that big. And even if we talk about viewership, in the end, they got like 50 million views just in France. So it's pretty insane. Like, so for that torch relay, which is something that used to not be broadcasted before. So
that is amazing. Why don't you guys dive a little bit deeper into the architecture, how you did that and how cloud differentiated? And let's really go deep in sustainability. It is amazing some of the numbers that we're talking about here. So let's go there and talk about that a bit. By the way, a quick shout out to Josephina and Rini and Vias from Paris as well.
Got a big Paris following today. I love it.
Yeah, I love the big up Snoop comment. Like we actually have like some nice video when he carried the flame. That was pretty fun. That was
the EP's on fire today. I love it.
Well, Fernando, I let you talk about the solution aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Johnny. So basically, it was it was very simple. We just work with the guys from France TV, and we put in place the PCR, the fully cloud-based PCR, um, you know, instance, right? And then we were capturing all the feeds, live feeds from different locations, right? From the convoys, because they have convoys, following the torch. And basically, we have 8 camera feeds going into our cloud system. And of course, in order to do that and to be on the move, we were using our own transmission protocol, which is called ISX. So basically, all the transmitters are aggregating multiple links, multiple connectivity links. And we use Starlink on one side, and then a private 5G cable on the other side, and then of course public 5G services. So the packs and the transmitter are aggregating all together to get a smooth transmission, right? So once we have all that in the production suite, the group from from France TV was adding graphics, switching cameras, and doing the audio mixing, and all that. That is part of the production. And then we were sending that output to our TVU channel, right, which was a play channel, right?
Yeah. Did you guys run that over? Was that over 5G? How did you transmit from the camera to the cloud? What was the connection? I know you use your own protocol, but what was
Yeah. So we were using both, right? We were using public 5G, and then we were creating, our own 5G bubble, which is, the standalone 5G, right? So we were using basically our own, which is, of course, the gateway to the internet was Starlink. It was a maritime, unit. So we were getting, multiple links to do the transmission. Pretty smooth transmission, by the way, right? So cameras were, not using, of course, cables, and were wandering around, getting crowd shoots, following, and giving us, great shots, during the move, right? And we were, on top of that, is something that I wanted to clarify and to comment on. It's, well, when we first meet with the production team, so technology is there, technology is great, right? We have the proper tools, right? But one important thing was, you know, work with the operator's user experience, right? Because it's so much different when you take a look at it, when you look at it. But, our main focus was to get basically the same user experience, from the legacy broadcast systems, right? So not only we were using the cloud, tools, but also we were giving them physical control panels, right? And we worked a lot, with them. So key element, during those days at the beginning was make sure that all the operators, multiple shifts during the days, were getting the proper user experience, right?
And that's super, Fernando. I love that because if you think about Amazon's leadership principles, we start with customer obsession and we always work backwards from the customer, the user. So an enhanced user experience is absolutely critical to everything we do when we have our solutions for our customers.
Yeah,
Hey, a
exactly.
quick question from Duncan, maybe to you: is the torch relay available to see on YouTube in its entirety?
It's a good question to ask Friends Television. No, like it is not available on YouTube to watch entirely, which would be a lot of hours because we're talking about like 80 days of live coverage up to 12 hours per day. So that would be a very long TV show.
Yeah.
But definitely there are a lot of highlights that Friends TV has compiled along the way that are available. But I will go back to Friends TV and let them know that there are some people that want to watch it in
I'm telling you, Duncan will
Great show.
binge watch this. I can tell. To just binge the whole thing.
But one thing that can be good, if you allow us to share the workflow that can explain a bit better what Fernando was talking about, just for everyone to understand, normally to cover this kind of event, I'm talking about what we are doing today for event like a Tour de France or like Vuelta in Spain, etc., this kind of big bike race, is you always have an airplane that is flying over the race to be able to provide the signal. You also have additional helicopters that provide like additional signal to allow the satellite transmission back to a remote studio. For the Tour de France, it's France TV. Other brand, it's other things. But the setup is a bit crazy. And what Fernando was explaining is that we worked together with Obvious, TDF, France TV. It's been a partnership of many providers to build like a really reliable 5G bubble that was just put into one of the car of the convoy. So we didn't even have to add any more vehicle. There was already, it was the police officer, like the chief of police in the convoy, that basically put that 5G bubble in the car. That's how it looked in the car. It's just fitting in the trunk. And on the top of the car, we had like 5G antenna and the Starlink as well to send back the signal from all the TVU transmitter to the remote location, like to the studio in France TV. And what we were saying about the operators is like, this is how the whole production looked like, which is insane. If you've ever seen a control room, it looks normally very fancy and crazy and big. And here what France TV was able to do is just take a meeting room and put some laptops and screens and bring their USB device to operate like a real broadcast, but everything in the cloud. The intercom, the switching, the production, the playout, you name it, the graphics, the everything, the audio mixing that you see on the left. Like this is the playout room. We also had the commentaries, the remote commentaries were made also remotely. 100% everything remote. So that's just, I mean, we don't have to show more this slide, but it's just to say, like, I think that the best story out of it is when we started working with France TV on that project. The first meeting we had was together with like a few like directors at France TV and also operators. And they were right away kind of fighting during the meeting. They were like, there is no way we're going to do that in the cloud. Like, there is no way we're going to go and do this kind of event. So it's been a real partnership. And like Chris mentioned, like customer obsessed, like we were working with the operators every day to make sure that we can like have like seamless operations so that they really feel comfortable using all these ecosystems for like a 4 months period. So it's been really a good learning experience on every side, like partners, customers. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, the edge component of this is very interesting because in the cloud adoption, one of the big transitions we go through is the operators, and the fact that you won the hearts and minds of the operators, pretty incredible. And it's really tells the story about how we're transitioning from the traditional world to really what's going on in the cloud, and how we've extended out into this field where we can actually follow live events across the city. It's just really, really incredible. Lots of people are asking, about how interesting this is. Somebody wrote, "Cool. Describe more about the solution and dive a little bit deeper." Let's talk about sustainability for a minute. I mean, the numbers, Chris, here are off the chart. I have not seen anything like this yet. Let's go there for a minute.
Sure. I mean, like maybe people can guess, like in the chat, but like how many like tons do you think like we've been able to save by moving to a cloud workflow? Like it's a big number. So I wonder like what you guys can come up with the chat, and I'll give the answer in 10 seconds. But basically, if we talk on the transmission side, so the fact that we've been able to remove airplanes and helicopters and do everything entirely with a little 5G bubble, we saved more than 600 tons of CO2 emissions. So that's insane. Okay. And if we talk about the production side, which is like we didn't need to have trucks following the relay to do the production on site. We didn't need to have the team also, because 4 months production, 4 months of production, you need to have the team switching every week and like moving over to the place where we need to film. Sometimes it can be in Haiti, and sometimes it can be in República Dominican. I mean, like all these French territories, everything was able to be done like from a studio where everybody's working in Paris anyway. So there was no cost of travels. And so even on the production side, we've been able to save like more than 10 tons of CO2 on the 4 months. So in total, we are talking about close to 610 tons of CO2 saved on that project, which is insane.
That's an amazing number, really amazing. Do you guys, when you didn't do it in the cloud and you did things like this before, you were mentioning like lots of vehicles moving around and doing things like this. Go a little bit deeper into your truck operation. I mean, there's a lot of questions coming in on about how this worked and what did you do inside the truck a little more. Maybe we can dive a little bit deeper and just go technical for a minute. I think there's a lot of interest out there on how this operated, how it worked, and there's a lot of interest in how to replicate this, right? A lot of our partners and customers are asking us, how do we do this again? And how do we do this with you?
Yeah. So sorry, first, like replying to EP, I didn't say Haiti, but Tahiti, which is a French territory. Sorry. Sorry, Stuart. Can you repeat like the end of your question?
Yeah, so let's go a little bit deeper into what in the operation of the truck that you guys built. I mean, it's a cloud truck. It's so interesting and very, very innovative. Let's talk about the cloud truck. For those who don't know, typically when you go to a live event, you see lots and lots of trucks. Those are actually data centers inside the truck. It's a full data center. There's multiple of those trucks around, wired up and cabled. You'll see satellite and you'll see terrestrial. So let's talk about your truck a little bit, because I think it's a really interesting play and others want to learn more about this.
Go, Fernando.
Yeah, so basically for the cloud PCR, only just 3 seats. Okay, it was an office that we put together, with computers and screens, and just 3 seats. One, for the TD, which is the one that was, switching the cameras and talking back to the, the field operators, right? And then one for the audio shuffling and audio mixing, right? And one which was, the producer at that time, to just, controlling the graphics and calling the shots, etc., etc. That was the PCR basically. And then we had another office with the commentator of the event, because all these 12 hours a day, you had a commentary on top. That was a 1 seat, 1 laptop, and that's it, right? And for covering the 24/7 operation, it was another office with another 3 seats for play out operators, the one that was switching live, and then the one that was just creating the scheduling, and a third seat that was just controlling, the content rights, right? And that was it.
Wow,
Nothing more.
it's pretty amazing. What does it typically look like? What's the size of a staff off cloud look like? I would imagine we're into like
For
dozens.
this, for an operation like this, I would say 100 people.
Yeah, easily, right? And we have it
Yeah,
down to less. It sounds like less than 10, right?
yeah, exactly,
That's
exactly. Yeah,
absolutely incredible. I
and
can really see
and
the
it was
emission savings from how we did all this is amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And at the beginning, we just took some time to do the trainings. That was super easy to do, and to get a lot of feedback from them, and then we went from there. But that was it. That was it. Okay.
Amazing.
So
Now,
you need to imagine also, how you can get rid of all the logistics parts
right.
when you don't have all that much of hardware, and tons of equipment deployed in multiple places and different regions. So you need to account for that as well. So yeah, less than 10 people.
Chris, you see these numbers? 11 billion new viewers, 11 million.
That's crazy. Yeah, and that's exactly what we want. And hopefully it's a better experience. And so you're going to draw people in. And I don't know if you folks check the comments, but there's a lot of great questions about how did this come together. And I don't know if you have the answer on this, Yoni or Fernando, but which tool? Somebody asked which tool was used to mix the audio commentator. And so I don't know if you have that answer
Yeah.
off the top of your head or not.
It's called TVU Remote Commentator, and that's it. That is a powerful tool. Okay, you can bring in any commentator, any commentary service from any part in the world, and that's it.
That's
And
outstanding.
a key element to this tool, it's that everybody sees exactly the same video frame at the same time. So you don't need to deal with delays coming in, coming out, and get all desynchronized, right? That is something that at a technology level we handle pretty well. So every frame is synchronized. So people doesn't need to struggle with waiting to get heard and listen to the audio feedback or all that kind of stuff. That is it's controlled and handled by the TVO remote commentator.
Excellent. And we have somebody asking if you have a video demo.
We can share that. We don't have one right now for the show, but we can share that at the end of the.
Yeah, we can post. Yeah, we can post the link back.
We will follow that. We'll take that as a follow-up action item. And so, speaking of action items, and I'm going to surprise you a little bit, Fernando and Yoni here, maybe. For the folks who are listening in here, what would be a good call to action? Like, what would be a takeaway that you'd recommend that anybody who's really interested in this? What do they do next?
Well, reach out to AWS and TVU. No, like number one, but like the biggest challenge that we see, it's really in the mentality of people, because you asked Chris before, how did it happen? Like, what made it work and happen? It's really first, like, credits to France Television for wanting to break the mold and go like outside of the box, because nobody thought that producing a tier 1 sport event was possible in the cloud. Nobody thought that. The second thing is really to be with a good partner. Like, this cannot work without a solid partner relationship. Like in the cloud world, it is not anymore like a vendor giving you a tool and good luck. It is really a partnership, because there is so much variable that needs to be accounted for, that for a big project of that scale, it needs to be like partnership and the feedback loop. So that's to me like the two most important things. It works. We've proven it many times that it works for major event. Last year, the BBC did the UK election as well, using entire cloud-based workflow. So it's like crazy major event. The AWS cloud services are very reliable and very stable. So it's really a partnership that makes this happen. That's, to me, like, partnership is the biggest takeaway if anyone wants to do that again and replicate that.
Excellent.
Yeah, and let me just add a quick thing, and also for the people that comes from broadcast, I'm come from broadcast as well. So we can create any type of redundancy level that it's needed. Okay, because that was another thing that France TV team wanted to have, right? And you can just deploy multiple instances in different regions, diverse regions, and then we can create different logics to doing the failover, right? So we can also give the level of security that these type of events needs, right? So it's super flexible. Okay.
Excellent, guys. There's lots of comments about the length of how long it took. That it went over days to actually a couple of days to do this, and it's just incredible. With the I always love to call the magic of television, right? And you can take this incredible event, right? Apply this cloud technology we now have at AWS with our partners, compress that, and give our consumers a great experience. 11 million viewers, 610 tons of carbon emissions saved, just absolutely incredible. I would encourage visitors. We've also done some other things with the TVU networks. If you happen to be in the New York area during the hockey season and you go to the UBS Arena, TVU is actually running the live replay in the arena on the Islanders app. There's a couple of links out there. We'll share those as well. So you can actually see the TVU live experience at 42 different games throughout the year as well. So additional work we had done with them. And there's other things they're doing, obviously, across the globe with live events and replay and streaming. And really, I would say minimizing the footprint of the truck, Chris, is really innovative and industry changing.
It's huge. It's a really big deal. And hey, I want to come back to our friend EP again here. He's single-handedly keeping this thing like interactive. But I do love the question, all kidding aside. So he says, France is a huge hip hop market. If you could partner with any content creators based in France for transparency, he's a American hip hop artist. What I like about this question is we have a use case here. What other use cases could we apply your technology, your solutions, your offerings, and this is just one, like applying to the hip hop market. Where else could we use this?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and also you're talking about like you being an artist. So I'll go more maybe on the streamer space. Today we work with the very famous streamers as well. Like you maybe seen recently iShowSpeed, which is like probably the #1 streamer today on the planet, at the WWE the catch, like the wrestling in the US. And he was just like in the crowd engaging with the fighters and stuff, and all that was live stream. So allowing also the WWE to gain more like popularity on the streaming and younger like space and audience. So today it's not really about the solution anymore. It's like the solution are out there. It's really about like your creativity. Like what do you want to do? Like any crazy creative idea. We've done like throwing a car through a cliff. And live stream with the pack in the car and stuff. We've done some crazy stuff, but we didn't come with the idea. It's really like we have like the tool set, and it's any kind of crazy idea can be created now. Like it's the power of the cloud. It's very adaptable. It's very flexible, so you can easily like create any kind of live work.
Excellent. That's great. Stuart, why don't you bring us home here, because we're at time.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Yoni, Fernando, TVU Networks. It was great having you here today. We look forward to doing more things with you, diving deeper, raising the bar as we do at AWS, and obsessing over our customers, bringing them incredible cloud technology with incredible partners. Thank you, Chris Niederman. Thank you, TVU Networks.
Well, what's coming up, Stuart? People shouldn't go away. We got another partner coming in.
Another partner coming. Yes.
So and don't go away. We got another partner coming up.
Sorry, I was just winding them down. Yes. And next we have ScorePlay. The theme is going to be evolution of sports media. And we have two incredible founders from the company joining us. So let's bring on ScorePlay. We are back.
We're back. So, hey, folks, happy good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. We are broadcasting live once again, Industries Live. It's our new series. And I'm Chris Niederman, the Managing Director of Industries and Solutions at AWS Worldwide. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Industries Live, we stream every other Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we alternate between various industries. We're doing media entertainment today. We'll do FSI on the next one in a couple of weeks, and then we'll go through various other industries throughout the year. And the purpose of Industries Live, we really want to gather a community of AWS customers who are looking for solutions to their pain points in any given industry. And by the way, some of these solutions cross industries, which is fascinating. We'll talk about that as well. We offer conversations covering the full informational spectrum from level 100 to level 400, from those curious college students, and we had a bunch of them on the last session, to those executive C-suite decision makers at customers. We had even more of them on the last session. So to get things kicked off, before I turn it over to my co-host, where is everybody watching from? You thought this was going to be passive? No, you can't just sit back there and watch and absorb. We want you to engage with us. So first things, get those fingers going, type, where are you watching from? Where are you joining from? And and also, have you ever participated in an Industries Live or a Partner Live session? So while they're typing in that information, Stuart, why don't you introduce yourself and take it away?
Sure. I'm Stuart Lepkowsky. I'm a partner development specialist on Chris Niederman's team. I oversee the telco, media, entertainment, games, and sports partner strategy. And today we have with us our partner ScorePlay. By the way, Chris, look at this. Shout out from Italy. Palm Beach by way of Brooklyn. Love it, France. Here we go. They're coming in, Chris, globally.
Palm Beach by way of Brooklyn. EP's back. I kind of want to be in Palm Beach right now because it's like I can't believe the storm in Seattle at this moment. I'm in Seattle, by the way, folks.
It must be raining, snowing, and both.
Oh,
right?
well, it rained and a lot of wind. I was worried the tree was going to fall on our house. Okay, so a lot of interest. I love it. People, hey, let's keep them coming.
Okay, so let's bring on ScorePlay, please. Welcome, ScorePlay.
Hello.
Two co-founders from ScorePlay.
Hey, Vic. Hey, Xavier.
How are you?
What's going on, guys? This is Vic and Xavier. Why don't you guys do a quick intro on who ScorePlay is? Our theme today is the evolution of sports media, and our audience is very interested to learn what you guys are doing in the space. So take it away.
Yeah, happy to kick off. So first of all, thanks Stuart and Chris for the invite. Excited to be here with you today. And actually, I think it's a good transition with the very interesting session we just had, because we are working mostly on like the media asset management and distribution side of things. So everything that happens once the live broadcast is on. And so what we're doing at ScorePlay is actually very simple. So as you know, we all know teams, league, broadcasters, they are all facing a huge pressure to deliver more and more content, not only on broadcast, but also on more and more social media channels. And so what we help them do is centralize all the content that they already created, so all their archive, as well as all the content that they are currently creating, so all the broadcast feeds, but also the photos, the social videos, everything in one single platform. And that seems like simple, but that didn't exist. They are currently having very fragmented media infrastructure, a tool for basically every single workflow. And the idea of ScorePlay is to say, let's integrate the tool that's our specialized and working super well in this platform, but let's make sure we have one repository, one central source of truth for that. And when we started, it was mostly with small and medium teams and leagues. It worked well for them. So they introduced us to bigger ones. So if you take, I don't know, the French football example, we started working with League 2 and small League 1 clubs. It worked well. So they introduced us to bigger ones, Marseille, Lyon, Lille. We ended up working with the actual LFP League 1, mostly on broadcast things. And we ended up working with UEFA in general, because the idea of the platform is to create also bridges between every single right holder platform and create, at the end of the day, the media infrastructure for the sports world that can integrate with any vendors, but create like a decentral location. And something that's very important for us is that it's hybrid model that can work with on-prem infrastructure to make sure that we can get access to all that footage. But we are using like cloud storage for everything, and also doing some cloud production that we'll explain to you. And at the end of the day, it's also using AI to, once you have like everything centralized, tag and index all that content. So facial recognition, brand logo detection, speech to text, like, we are also adding some dubbing in the platform to make sure that all the content can then be personalized and distributed to the right people. So athletes, sponsors, broadcasters, but also obviously like to your social channel, your broadcast feeds, etc. So again, end to end, we'll deep dive into it, but creating this kind of media infrastructure.
Okay, and Xavier, quick intro, please.
Yeah, so I'm Xavier, co-founder and CTO. So essentially helped with the team here build what Vic just described. I'm the one who chose the cloud provider we'd go with. So we're going with AWS, obviously. So yeah, thanks for the invite, guys. I'm really excited to give you more details about how we built all of this.
Okay, we're gonna go a little deeper. Awesome. So we got a picture here. By the way, everybody, shout out to Fareed from Connecticut. These guys will take us through the depths of the architecture, but step back for a minute and think before cloud and a team like this existed. This was all stored on physical tapes and pen drives and moved about in closets with things stacked where you couldn't find things. You wanted to do a highlight or something, you had to go dig through the closets looking for tapes, and then they were labeled wrong. So really innovative what's going on here. Let's take a deeper dive and a look at what they're doing.
And I think actually it's again good transition, because you need still to be, because like a lot of this content is still on LTO, on like a physical server, so you still need to be able to access the storage, and sometimes it's like an efficient way to do it. But you need to have like proxies in the cloud, and you need to be able to have like the flexibility of the cloud with the robustness of like the on-prem infrastructure, and that's basically what we try to provide. But why we do that is not just for technology, is because there is actually like a real industry shift, and it's kind of like a standard to say that, but when you think about the number of new channels that fans are using to accessing and to consuming content, used to be like mostly broadcast. Now, obviously, broadcast is still like very important. We saw the number for the Super Bowl. Like it's still like the sport, and particularly sports on broadcast is still like the most watched type of content. But now it's also like documentaries, and we saw with like Formula One, for instance, that's with a great show, you can actually like reignite the interest in a sport, which is a huge thing. It's social media, of course, and it has been a long time, but now it's like more and more social media channels. It's all the content creators that you have to feed. It's the OTT platform that you have to create. It's all the new games that you are creating on top of your sports. And for all of that, like you need context. And the strength is that this fragmentation can actually be a hurdle to find your audience. And the fact that you have more and more competition, you have new leagues starting almost every week now. You have like new teams, and you have also a globalization of the sports content. So you are all fighting against each other to this fan attention. And so the opportunity that we think all those sports holders have, that they are still like a huge repertoire of content, and if they are making a good a good use of it, and being able to repurpose it to different usage, different channels, relocate it and like adapt it to different geographies, like from one production they can like reach and personalize it to very different types of fans. And so that's what we've created with ScorePlay. It's like this kind of very simple idea of saying we want to centralize every type of media content that's a team, a league, a broadcaster is producing. So obviously the live broadcast, as we discussed, but also the photos, also the videos, all the branding and graphics aspect that you have, all your archive, of course, we want to index it automatically using data, because we have like so much data accessible in sports. So why not reusing it as much as possible for tagging? And then we want to apply as much as possible like AI on top of it. And again, AI is great, but the user experience is the most important. So how can you include facial detection, brand logo detection, speech to text, dubbing into a great user experience that it's actually saving you time rather than like adding a layer of complexity in terms of integration. And that's what we've done. And then distributing this content to all the right people. So first of all, internally, because, like just being able to find, like I'm from the partnership team, I need a photo for a deck, where should I go? Like you go on ScorePlay. I'm working in the media team and I work on the highlight video for a player. Where are my raw videos? You go on ScorePlay. I'm working for the social media team and I need to do a quick reel on Instagram. Where should I go? You go on ScorePlay. Like just centralizing this. And after, externally doing the same. So with players, making sure that they are posting, because they are the best advocate. Athletes are the best advocates of all those leagues. With partners, because you need to have content to activate the partnerships. It's not just about visibility, it's actually like storytelling and activation. And obviously with broadcasters, because you want them to be able to tell a good story and they need content to do it. And after that, we have like an open API to automate a lot of the processes on your website, on your app, even on your broadcast feed, like having the right headshots on the right image, like all those kind of things are very important things. And that will go into the detail on architecture-wise how it's working, but it's always important to come back from why we need that and how we simply solve it. And like very quickly, we did that only for sports, AI-powered, end-to-end, and most importantly, with customer first, because we created this platform with 200 teams and leagues in the world, and we just use their feedback to develop the new feature, to create the new media infrastructure, to get the next referral in order to unify a bit how sports media is working. And so, Xav will take over, but he's our CTO. I'm the CEO, and we brought together like a very good team also of investors and partners. A lot of our athletes actually, because they understand what we're doing. So people like Kevin Durant, Giannis, Rafael Varane, Eli Manning, like a lot of different athletes. That's
incredible team. Look at that team, Chris.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Dream team.
Yeah, Mario Götze, like world champion in football, posted on LinkedIn last week saying like, if we were putting a team together of like all those investors, like what sports would it be? and people were having fun on LinkedIn, like commenting on that.
So Chris, look at this. We have we were talking about people calling in. We have Nigeria, Chris.
I know. That's awesome. It might be a first for us. That's great.
I think so. There was a question about APIs. Do you guys have an API?
Yeah, and I think a good comparison we usually use is the same way today, like, massive CRMs are toolboxes for sales teams. ScorePlay is a media toolbox. And then, we've got the right interface and the right solution for right holders, right takers, sponsors, broadcaster, and even players who have a native app for them. But all of that was built by ScorePlay, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. And then the really powerful workflows will come from, what people out there build on top of ScorePlay, which means that everything that Vic just described is powered by our API. We're the first user of our API, obviously. But yeah, you can build on top of ScorePlay with the ingest, so the transform workflow or the automated distribution rules. All that's open in our API, so feel free to build along.
Okay, let's talk about Gen AI, Chris. I think they're doing some really, really interesting things in generative AI for what we would call localization. I love to call it globalization of media. It really is taking media globally, but making it local for consumers to sort of take in and look at. Let's talk about localization a bit. Let's talk about Gen AI and what you're doing in the Gen AI space and how cloud has helped change that for you.
Yeah, of course. So I think two big examples come to mind. So I think it's good to take a step back and see how our typical broadcast and digital users out there managing their live feeds and their localization before and after ScorePlay. And I think there's two examples to the use of Gen AI. The first one is for graphic injection. So, today we have some, leagues and huge customers out there that will essentially double their storage on ScorePlay or without ScorePlay, because they're capturing all the clean feeds. So that's, clean, no graphics, no commentaries, nothing, and the dirty feeds that comes with graphic overlays, commentaries, and you want to keep that because sometimes for digital use cases, social media use cases, you want the dirty feed. One of the latest features on ScorePlay is like, okay, just focus on the clean feed. We will ingest the data along with that clean feed. And then from only one video, one storage, one stream, you can either clip and distribute your clean feed, or we can do automated injection of those graphics and commentaries inside the video so that you can distribute the dirty feed. So first of all, we slash your storage by 2. We slash your network usage by 2, which we saw with the first hosts here on the panel, how important it is to try to limit your on-prem infrastructure and distribution to the bare minimum. And now we can do that, time codes all those videos, and all we need is one video feed, one third-party commentary feed, and one data feed, and we'll replay all those nice graphic overlays and commentaries inside that video. So I think that's the first example. Again, super simple. Before you needed at least 2 streams, and even more so with customers that had 1 per language. Now we can do it just once, and now we're pushing this even further with dubbing. So now we can just ingest 1 feed, 1 dirty feed, 1 language. We'll do speech to text on that. We can translate into many languages, and then you can turn back through dubbing and distribute that live feed in any language you want. So again, that's just one of the powers of ScorePlay, and that's why it's not just focusing on live. Because what if you want to do that, with an archive video? What if you want to do that, showcasing the best football moves of the season and push that in Spanish, but you ingested everything in English? So that's the whole objective of, once we control the infrastructure, which is the baseline of what ScorePlay is doing, then we can start adding these features on top that provide real added value to our customers.
Excellent. So a question for you is you're talking through that, it's really interesting because you're really addressing some specific customer needs, customer demand signals. And as you look out further, 1, 2, 3, 5 years, are you seeing any trends, changes in the industry with the customers that we need to get ahead of, that we need to be thinking about? The old adage, like, don't skate where the puck is, skate where the puck's going. Like, where's the puck going next 3 to 5 years that we should be thinking about?
Yeah, so it's funny because we keep saying about ScorePlay that we bridge the gap between digital world and broadcast world. And the reason why we say that is that, from the broadcast world, you're coming from a world where it has to work. I mean, we can't understand bugs. You can't have that black screen. You can't have that missing audio track. Like, it needs to work, which is usually why we're going with legacy on-prem solutions, on-prem architectures. And then we try to look at that. And then on the other end, which is where we've come from with Vic, you have digital workflows. They're social media first. They're lightweight. Everything is live ingested, and maybe you care a bit less about selling exclusive rights, but you want the right piece of content to the right end user through the right means. And we created ScorePlay starting on the digital side of things. So, exclusively on the cloud. Pieces of content are pretty lightweight. We're talking photos, videos, and then little by little, we expanded into the broadcast world. And I think what this has really allowed us to do is take the latest innovations and technology from digital. So we're talking, AI tagging. We've just mentioned Gen AI. We're mentioning about cloud optimizations, and how can we apply that for broadcast? So that now we can have these innovative workflows and automated distribution to any type of stakeholder, but apply it with broadcast quality workflow made to be on that 8K screen during the Olympics, in big flat screens in Paris. So we really look at the latest trends and innovations on digital, and then look at how we can apply that and combine them with broadcast heavy workflows, which historically came with airplanes, helicopter cameras, and on-premise trucks.
Interesting. Chris, we have a question from EP. Our friend EP is back. So outside,
I don't think EP ever left.
No, you stay with us, right, EP? Look at the hip hop world of music. Are you seeing a play there and demand there, and looking into that space? EP's asking, is there a convergence between hip hop and sports and the global impact And how do you see that?
Yeah. No, it's actually a funny question, because we are having some pilot programs with like music festivals, music labels that actually have exactly the same needs, because what we do is, and if you want to build like a very good user experience, you have to be very focused in the problem that you are solving. But as you grow, you start having like people going from one industry to another and wants to reapply your technology to other verticals, and that's happened with music. For now, like and that happened with like basically any entertainment vertical, because it's always the same problem. It's a lot of content, a few key influencers, some media rights that you need to sell, and like like a footage archive that you want to maximize the IP for. And so yeah, I mean, the truth is the problem of sports IP is basically the problem of entertainment IP and content IP in general, and that can apply to in the future any other vertical. The only thing is that we wanted to, again, there are like a lot of synergies when you create this media infrastructure for one ecosystem, because of the distribution aspects. Like if I am a partner, I can get access to all the content from all my different properties. If I'm an athlete, I can receive content from my team, from my league, from my federation. So we saw a lot of value by like maximizing first our impact in one vertical and then extending it to other. But yeah, to answer like EP question, I think the stakes and everything we said about sports are exactly the same for music, for the movie industry, for like any entertainment industry in general.
Excellent. You guys are really doing something, I would say, that's game changing and headed in the direction of the Movie Labs 2030 vision. And for those of our audience not familiar, I encourage you to look it up. It's really what Chris was referencing, where's the puck going, and that's the 2030 vision. It's a paper that's been put together by Movie Labs, and it really talks about the compartmentalizing of content, and the content has intelligence surrounded with it. So you have not only just the content, but the intelligence in the content, what the content is about, and it's allowing us to really have a broader reach and use content in so many different ways. You guys are doing a great job with putting together a solution in the cloud to do this. And I heard you say, did you say you were cloud native, started on the cloud? I thought I heard that.
Yeah, that's right. So when we started, we went straight to cloud. Honestly, for two reasons. We are a media platform. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we can store media correctly. And believe it or not, but when we worked with the Paris 24 Olympics, everything that was, handheld cameras and in-house built clips was stored on on-premise servers. If you had a flood in Paris, they could have potentially lost those. So, one of the first things is, okay, how can we leverage our cloud storage to be sure that one, you can have real-time backups in the cloud. Two, with the click of a button, with the setting of an S3 bucket that can be replicated in another region to make sure your media is 100% safe. And three, that when Paris 24 closes down, you still have immediate access to that, entire archive of content. So, that's the first thing. We're like, okay, we need to go cloud because of how simple it's going to be. We come from a world of software, not a world of hardware. So I don't want to be maintaining disk arrays. Even though actually lately we've just launched our hybrid model where now we can also plug in to the on-prem infrastructure of a customer, so that we can leverage the best of both worlds. And the second one, I was actually just left a customer a couple of days ago, so one of the big Grand Slam tournaments, and we were ingesting about 50,000 hours of content into ScorePlay within a few days. And the first thing you need to do, obviously, is transcode that content, generate a multi-bitrate HLS that is easily streamable online, very low latency, generate a thumbnail, generate a lot of things that will improve the customer and viewing experience down the line. Within the span of a few of our internal apps, we spawned about 600 GPUs and a few more CPUs to handle all that video production. And within 72 hours, we were done. 72 hours. And the right ratio is, if we'd done that on-prem, it would have taken 3.5 years. So that's the kind of ratio we're talking with cloud computing.
Say it again. 3.5 years down to how many hours?
72 hours.
Wow. Chris, that is just incredible.
I mean, it's awesome. So I'm just doing a quick time check here. We got about 3 minutes left, and I am, and Stuart's going to laugh at me. I love the takeaways, call to action. So for everybody on this listening, thousands of people listening in here, if they're super interested in learning more, getting moving, leveraging your offerings, what do you recommend? What one action do you recommend they take in the next 72 hours?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always kind of answering the same for that, because we started 4 years ago with no experience in sports, no experience in media. And everything we built was based on like customer interviews, like feedback we received from the product. So, you know, if I have one wish is go on the website, look at what we're doing, like request demo if you need it, and send us messages on like, you know, pain point that you had for like decades that you wish we could potentially solve in terms of like media production, media management, and media distribution. And yeah, we'd love to sit down with Zav, sit down with the product team and see how we can make it happen, because that's basically how we build this platform, is by taking like all those pain points here from the industry and like trying to create a user experience, user interface that could solve them.
Yeah, and I think that last point is really important. It's kind of like Amazon. We build our services and our offerings based upon feedback from our customers, our partners, from everybody out there. So, you know, you heard it from Vic, folks. They want feedback. What are you seeing that signals customer demand or demand in the industry that could direct their next development? And I think that's crucial for all of us to understand what you're all hearing out there.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, Chris, by the way, 2 more viewers from Nigeria. Shout out to Josephine and Obani from Nigeria. I think that's 3 folks from Nigeria watching, and great global reach today. I want to wind this down, Chris. I want to thank Chris Niederman for hosting and co-hosting with me today. I want to thank our friends from the first half of the show, TVU Networks, and our friends here from ScorePlay. Thank you very much for participating today, helping our customers and partners learn more about what's going on in the cloud and in the sports industry. I love to use this phrase, the game is changing and you are changing it. So thank you again. Thank you to all our fans. Chris, you want to give a farewell?
Just game's changing, game on. That's it. So just game on. Let's go. Giddy up.
Okay, we'll see you guys.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
the
guys.
advice.
Really appreciate it. Great job. And hopefully everybody out there enjoyed this. And don't forget, we'll be back again every other week. Feel free to dial in. And EP, we're expecting you to be there with all your questions and comments. We love it. So keep it up, folks. Have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be.
Thank you. Stuart Lepkowsky signing off from New York. Chris Niederman from Seattle. Vic and Xavier, thank you again.